In 2023, Honda introduced the current generation Pilot. Now 3 years later, we're due for a mid-cycle refresh, and here it is, the 2026 Honda Pilot. Before we get into the details of what's new with this Pilot, do us a favor, hit like and subscribe below to get all of our latest content. The easiest way to spot this new Pilot is up front. It gets this new, bigger, truck-like grille for a more rugged appearance, and that's accentuated further with these scuff plates below. Up top, roof rails are now standard on all models. Overall, the rest of the Pilot really hasn't changed that much, and I kind of like the way it looks, but what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Under the hood of this Pilot is the same 3.5-liter V6 that makes 285 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. Also returning is a 10-speed automatic transmission and available all-wheel drive. The changes for 2026 as it relates to on-road behavior are fairly minor and include an improvement to the steering system as well as a slightly quieter cabin. So let's hit the road to see how those all pan out. From behind the wheel, it should be no surprise that this drives like a Pilot. There's really not a lot of differences. You gotta dig really deep to really feel any of those changes that they made. So let's get into actually how it just drives. It's smooth, it's comfortable, and it's got plenty of power. But there's always a little more nuance to that, right? Now, when you leave the line, it can be pretty smooth, but with a little more throttle, I've noticed a little bit of lumpiness, a little subtle lurches here and there. And the shifts maybe get a little more noticeable, but when you're getting on the highway, you need a lot of power quickly. Well, the shifts are a lot quicker, a little more pronounced, and, well, they just get you higher up into the rev range so that you have more power. It's easy to pass slower traffic, it downshifts fairly quickly, and yeah, it just kind of drives as a three-row SUV should. It doesn't pretend to be sporty. Most people don't want anything sporty as a three-row SUV. They want comfort, and it does it well. When I'm coming down to a stop, though, I'm also feeling a few subtle lurches here and there from the downshifts, but also it's so light that most people probably won't even notice. It's also really nice and quiet in here. We just got off the highway and it was also very quiet there. There wasn't any wind noise to speak of, and for the most part, the tire noise was manageable. For visibility, it's pretty much the same as what you'd expect from any three-row SUV. It's pretty good. I have a nice view out the back, and the mirrors are well sized to give me situational awareness. This roof pillar here is moderately thick, but it's far enough away from me where it's not really impeding my view through left turns. Overall, this Pilot meets or exceeds expectations for a three-row SUV. But the more important parts are on the interior, so let's pull over and let's get into that. The biggest changes for 2026 happen on the inside. It starts with this much larger 12.3-inch infotainment touchscreen. You also get a larger, but I don't consider it a large instrument panel. Also new is wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a 5G Wi-Fi hotspot. There's also contrasting stitching in the Touring trim, diamond quilting in the Elite and Black Edition trims. There's also new center console trim, brown leather seats for the Trail Sport trim, and post-collision braking, which is, if you're in an accident, the brakes will automatically apply so that it'll help to prevent a secondary or third impact. As with before, we get Honda's great use of space. You have these big trays and cubbies and cup holders and extra spaces here and there in this giant armrest bin. And I kind of like this new trim they're using on the center console and in the door panels. From certain angles, it looks like wood. From other angles, it looks like rock. And from very certain angles, it even looks like snakeskin. And it sort of shimmers depending on how you look at it. It's a nice little glow-up for a rather mundane class of SUVs. As far as seating goes, it's nice and comfortable and well padded for all-day comfort. You don't need a lot of side bolstering because you're really not going to be taking curves in this thing. I do quite like the quilting on the top of these seat backs. It's in a synthetic suede and it's a little more of a modern take on your traditional luxury quilting. In 2026, it seems like quilting is the hot new thing because even the Sentra has it. Of course, we have heated seats and in higher trims, ventilated seats. Honda's infotainment system is easy to use, the graphics are sharp, and the menus are logical, making it one of the easier ones to use. I do like how they have Google Maps built into the native infotainment system, and I also like this instant access to the surround view camera. With surround view cameras, it makes it so much easier to park an SUV of this size into a smaller space. Really, the only thing that stands out to me as an oddity is this volume knob. Now, don't get me wrong. I am so glad that they have a volume knob and not those sliders from a few generations ago. It just seems a little out of place, but I will say it's in perfect reach for the driver. Finally, we have a wireless charging pad, which isn't all that rubberized and could stand to be a little beefier to hold your phone in place while you're taking turns, but you also have two USB-C ports. I personally think that Honda does a better job than most other car makers when it comes to delivering what family-minded shoppers want the most, and that's versatility. Here in the second row we have captain's chairs, but there's this big pass-through here with some anchors, and those are for a folding center seat that's currently stowed under the cargo floor. As a result though, I don't have a center armrest here, but that just means you have to lean outboard. I do like that we have manual sunshades here. As you can see, I also have plenty of room. The driver's seat is set for me. I'm 5'10" and I am not wanting for more space anywhere. Plenty of room for my feet, tons for my knees, and even with this massive panoramic sunroof, I still have plenty of headroom. That flexibility I spoke of earlier also applies to just the fact that these slide pretty far forward and back and also recline. This particular trim also comes with climate controls for the second and third rows, as well as heated outboard seats. Just below that we have two USB-C ports and a household power outlet. Another smart family-oriented feature that Honda developed is the cabin talk system. It allows the driver to talk directly to the second and third row passengers to keep them from being so unruly. If you have the center seat installed and you need access to the third row, it's as easy as tapping a button. But it is a little bit of a step up, especially for smaller passengers. Once you're seated back here, I'm glad to report that it takes very little effort to get this rear seat back in place. Now, I do have a good amount of space back here. Plenty of knee room, a little bit of room under the seat for my feet, and more headroom than I also need. And that's saying a lot because this seat here can also slide forward to give me even more space. While I have enough headroom and legroom, I am lacking a little bit of thigh support, but that's not all that uncommon for a three-row SUV. Materials quality isn't all that great back here though because, well, I'm in the cargo area, and so we have a lot of hard plastics where my elbows hit, but at least I do have a USB-C charge port. Also notable, we still get the leather quilting back here, even in the third row. For cargo, I'm glad that we have an available hands-free power liftgate, and behind the third row of seats we have 22.4 cubic feet of space. And underneath the cargo floor is a space designed perfectly for that center seat. And they put in a strap here so it doesn't rattle around. When you fold the third row down, that expands up to 60.1 cubic feet. And with the second row stowed, well, you get 114.3 cubic feet, which is in league with minivans nowadays. Prices for the 2026 Honda Pilot start just above $43,000 for the base model with front-wheel drive, then climb to over $56,000 for the top trim. When it comes to fuel economy, that front-wheel drive model gets 22 mpg combined, and if you add all-wheel drive, it only drops by 1 mpg. The off-road focused Trail Sport, however, drops yet another mpg to 20 mpg combined. Those compare well against other three-row SUVs in the class, but Toyota's Grand Highlander Hybrid takes the cake with an MPG rating well over 30. Overall, I think the minor changes to the 26 Pilot help to improve it just a little bit against its staunch competition. I like the styling, and I'm especially fond of the family-oriented touches they have on the inside that really set it apart from other SUVs. In the class, however, I think maybe the Grand Highlander Hybrid might be a better choice for almost everybody. But what do you think? Would you go for the Pilot or maybe one of its competitors? Let us know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next review.